Hi guys, and welcome to another YouTube video on Amazonia PPC YouTube channel. For this video, we have a really special guest. It's Danan, and he's gonna talk about the review management and provide a framework how we can actually improve our reviews. So Danan, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. Thanks, Igor. I appreciate you having me on the podcast. I've been a seller for 14 years on Amazon. I've been in the software and service space for Amazon sellers for about 6 years now, 6 years this year. And one of my passions is helping brands, really helping anybody actually. But in this space, helping brands. And there is no more effective way to help a brand get their sales up and their rating up by removing negative reviews. Nobody's ever talked about that before, right? We all want to get more positive reviews, and Amazon, as you well know, has really clamped down on what we're able to do about that.
Yeah, and reviews are a really sensitive topic. I feel like people are scared even to talk about it.
Yeah.
What's allowed, what's not. So
yeah. So I'll start off by saying everything that I'm going to go over is white hat. I don't do any black hat stuff. I've never been a black hat person. Gray hat, probably. I won't admit that publicly.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that because people are attracted to black hat and gray hat tactics just for obvious reasons. But I'm really glad that you follow those rules, and yeah, I'm really eager to find out more and learn about it because my knowledge about reviews is really low. So I'm looking forward to what you can share us.
Yeah, cool. So if you want, I've got a presentation I can go ahead and present right now if you'd like.
Awesome. I think I gave you the access here. Please go ahead.
So you should be seeing my screen now. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. All right. That's good deal. All right. So this is about protecting your brand, and this is a framework for Amazon review management. So my name's Danan Coleman. I started selling with my wife in 2010. We've done arbitrage, we've done private label, we've done handmade, we've done wholesale, and our most effective model to date is exclusivity to a manufacturer's brand on Amazon. I've also got 6 years, as I mentioned before, in the third-party service and software space for Amazon sellers, and I've got a strong passion for helping people. I not only help people in Amazon, but I'm FEMA certified for volunteer disaster response. I'm a huge outdoors guy, and I'm a certified master Jaguar technician. I don't even know why that's in there. That's true, but it's not relevant at all.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And if anyone wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, for those of you listening, there's a YouTube part of this, and I've got a QR code on the screen. But let's go into what we're going to cover on this. So we're going to go over the harm that negative reviews can cause. We're going to go over TOS and community guidelines violations, spotting black hat tactics, and then tips on removing those reviews that are in violation.
Sounds great.
So, yeah. And Igor, please, I kind of just get on a roll, but please interrupt me if you have any questions along the way.
Yeah, I will. I'm excited to learn, so I will. No worries.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah. So good. A lot of us know that your star ratings affect your star rating, right? That one's obvious, but it goes well beyond that. It affects your whole brand image and your reputation. It also affects your BSR. So if you track your BSR on any given ASIN, you'll see that it varies wildly throughout the day, but there is an overall trend over days, weeks, months, and years, right? So as your star rating goes down, and this isn't always true, but it's largely true, your product ranking, so your BSR tends to go down. You start showing up less and less and lower in the organic results, which then in turn your conversion rate goes down. And that can lead to even more PPC costs because you have to drive more traffic for the same amount of sales because your conversion rate's down. So I'm going to go over in greater detail the devastating effects of critical reviews on your brand. And we're going to go over a few definitions first. So first of all, we're going to define what's a rating and what's a review. A rating is just a star rating, right? There's no text involved. But a review is a written something written along with that star rating. And a critical review, as defined by Amazon, is a written 1, 2, or 3-star review. Another little tidbit, and this one's a tough one. Dropping from a 4.3 rating to a 4.2 rating can cost you as much as 50% of your sales. I've heard from a couple of customers that it killed the product, but the average is 25 to 50%. And the reason why is you lose that half star. So you go from a visual 4.5 star down to a 4-star. This one's a tough one as well. It takes as many as 12 5-star reviews to overcome just a single 1-star, which that math doesn't math to me, but yeah, it is what it is. It's like I've seen it as low as 7 to overcome a 1-star, and I've seen it as high as 15, 20, somewhere in that range. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah, but that 12 is even more. In reality, we take into consideration how many people actually leave a review. So how many sales actually land those 12. So it's
yeah, exactly. So if I don't have the exact number, but it was something like 2 or 3% of your purchases end up in actually having a review written. I think that's right. So if you needed 10 more reviews, you've got to get 200 sales, so what, and then, or you can do tactics to get reviews. And what does that cost you? What's it cost you to acquire 10 reviews? So every review, like the first, there's another thing that's actually not in there that I need to cover. And that is that your star rating is not purely a mathematical formula. And Amazon tells you as much. They take other things into account, like how recent was the review. I think that's about all they tell you, but how recent was the review? But I think it goes a lot further, just like Google does it. What's the quality of the review? How many quality reviews does that account have that has written this review? How often do they write reviews? So, how regularly are they doing this? And of course a bunch of other factors, but it doesn't make sense though that there was an account they had 2 5-stars, one of them written, one of them not, 2 4-stars, neither of them written, so just ratings, 0 3-stars, one, I think it was 1 2-star written 2-star. No, it was 0 2-stars, and then a single 1-star rating, nothing written, not a review. And that product was rated at 3.8. So just that one critical rating took it from what should be about a 4.6 or 4.4, something like that, all the way down to a 3.8. So that was like
absolute. I don't have any words to describe that. So you can do
me neither.
So many good things on your listing, on your products, and something like that can really nail you down.
Yeah, for sure. I have a lot of words for that, but I won't say them. So the point is that every negative review that you get on your product has a compounding effect on ultimately your conversion rate. So let's go into some data on negative review removal. I'm going to get into how you can identify and remove the reviews that violate Amazon's TOS. So let's get into the identification part first. So some of the common violations for reviews, most common, are cursing or foul language, mentioning the price of an item, mentioning a competitor, blaming shipping or packaging issues. So we see a lot of arrived broken, 1-star, box was damaged, product was damaged, etc. And so they get these 1-star ratings for these shipping issues. Another one is sold as new, but it's used. I think we've all had this problem before. And even though Amazon says that, you can tell them, I want to recall my inventory. I want you to destroy my inventory. I've got a friend where that nearly bankrupt their business because Amazon graded a used swim diaper as new and sold it, and there was basically poop in the diaper, in the swim diaper. So I use these products myself. So like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Clearly someone at Amazon just didn't even open the box because it's just, yeah, anyhow. So defamation of the brand, that's another big one. When it comes to hostile, threatening, or violent speech, those are slam dunks, right? So Amazon is pretty hard on not allowing that sort of verbiage to be used in reviews. And here's an example of a couple of those. These are real reviews that I screenshotted probably, I don't know, maybe a month ago. I took the Haribo sugar-free gummy bears because there's tens of thousands of reviews on that. Some of them are absolutely hilarious, but you can see in these cases, this one says gummies from hell, go and die, see you in hell, abominable little bastards. And so that sort of stuff isn't allowed. And you might wonder, why is it there? And we ask the same question. That's why we exist. We find this stuff and we help you get rid of it. Or in this case, you go find it and you help you get rid of it. So another really important aspect is the integrity of the review. So just so you guys know, the purpose of reviews on Amazon is for the reviewer to provide information that will help the prospective customer make a buying decision. That is the purpose of reviews, to provide the information to help that buyer make a decision to either purchase or not. So you need to, when you're looking at your reviews, if someone says, gives a 3-star and it just says didn't work for me. Okay, but why? What aspect of it? Those are harder to get rid of, but you can get rid of those. So once again, the integrity of the reviews is super important.
Well, that's a good example, actually, because I think everybody saw an example of that, like just didn't like it or whatever, just short explanation without any details and just whatever, 2 or 3 star review. So is there a chance to actually do something about it?
Yes, there is. I mean,
about wording, right? And there are nuances to that.
Yeah. So my recommendation is, and I'll see if I can get the list for you to maybe post into here, but I've got a list. I think it's like somewhere between 10 and 12 different policies on Amazon that goes into reviews and the integrity of them, what's allowed, what's not allowed, and what's a violation, what's not a violation. And I'll get into this a little bit later in this presentation, but you need to be educated when you are going to get these reviews removed, because I assure you that the person that's looking at your case is not, right? So you have to educate them. So I'll get into that a little bit later, but Igor, if you would just remind me to provide you with the list of links I have, I'd be happy to provide that to you so we can put it into the documents.
You got it.
Cool. All right. So next up is not a product review, right? It's got to actually be a product review in order for it to be a product review. So if it's bad for the buyer experience, it's bad for both you and Amazon. So keep that in mind, right? So here's an example of not a product review. Again, gummy bears. And the title is I'd buy toilet paper. And then they go into the fact that this is way less expensive than a particular medical procedure, right? Clearly not a product review. And I'm not entirely certain if this is true today, but I'm not sure if you can use emojis in reviews anymore. I can't remember. I know you can't use them in your listings anymore, in your bullet points. I'm not sure if you're allowed to use them in reviews. I think that's actually covered in one of the policies that I'll give to you. So here we go again with unsolicited medical advice. This is a big one. I'm going to show you an example of this. This says, make sure you drink plenty of clean water to help this product work. You should also look at magnesium levels and potassium deficiencies. So this is medical advice, right? And it also, what I didn't highlight here is it said it's beneficial in controlling gout, right? And if you have problems with taking big pharma poison, right? So this person, look, this is likely a legitimate review, you know, and but the fact is that they are giving unsolicited medical advice, so that's not allowed. Personal information, Amazon will get rid of that at the drop of a hat. It's
That's
not
smart. Yeah.
common. What's that, Igor?
That's smart. The previous example about the medical advice, that's really, really smart. You
Yeah.
obviously need to have a lot of knowledge about it, what's allowed, what's not. So that's where you guys come in.
Yeah. I mean, we've gone through literally millions of reviews, you know, as crazy as that is, it is true. We've gone through millions of reviews.
You are the one who should. I think you should have like a newsletter of the most hilarious reviews, because I'm literally uh,
Ooh.
trying not to laugh at these examples that you're showing, just to keep it serious
That's a good
conversation.
idea. We do have a newsletter. I think I'll add a section to it that that's hilarious reviews. That's a great idea, Igor. I love
Hilarious
it.
review of the week. I mean,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So
Re-
uh,
Remind me of that. I will absolutely implement that into like the bottom of our, or maybe the top of our newsletter. That'd be awesome. So yeah, Amazon's going to get rid of personal information reviews really fast. Return policy. This is another big one. This is borderline as big as the hey, arrived damaged, arrived broken, right? So when it comes to return policy, Amazon is the one that sets that, right? And if you've got consumables, if you've got let's just say you buy a camping toilet, right? Amazon's not going to let you return that. That's like hazardous waste, basically, could be in there. And so they just don't want to deal with that. And they say, no way. Right. I'm sure we've all met people that have had problems large enough with Amazon to maybe use a camping toilet and send it in used just to display their feelings. But anyhow, if there's a review where the person's super pissed off, they paid $30 for this supplement or this item, and they found out they can't return it, well, that's not the buyer's decision. That's Amazon's decision. Therefore, it's not a product review. Even as a matter of fact, even if they did product seller feedback, you can get that potentially removed as well. That's not within the scope of what we do at this time, but it's definitely a possibility.
yeah, good
So
information.
yeah, so let's go into black hat stuff, right? This is a recent customer within the last like 30 days or something like that. On the left hand side, there is a 5-star review, and that's the picture that the client put up there. On the right hand side, you have a 3-star review, and it's a screenshot of the picture from the 5-star review on a mobile device, right? So it says this review says it does contain formalin, and which under the name of methylene glycol, right? Okay, fine. So if you look closer at this review, right, it says the text within the review is not original. It was copy pasted from content from a Google search on common names from formaldehyde. Now, my executive assistant, Lindsay, actually found this out. Absolutely genius. But she found out that this is literally a copy paste from Google, right? And so it's a copy of a screenshot of someone else's image to leave a critical review utilizing copy pasted text from Google. So if this isn't a fraudulent review, then I don't know what is, right?
Well, yeah, that's really smart.
Yeah. So here's some successfully removed reviews. Now, at this point, we're over 10,000 reviews removed for our customers. Probably maybe even over 12,000 at this point. But the top left one says it's shipping related. And the review is, really, my production delayed and arrived broken. I'm very upset. We got that removed. Next one is FBA related. Ripoff sent me a 0.15 ounce sample size when I ordered a 2 ounce, which is 3 times the price, right? That's an FBA issue. Granted, it's possible for brands to accidentally send in the wrong inventory, but that's not one of these cases, right? Amazon just messed up. And then we've got not a product review. And the review is, it worked in a way, right? So that's that example. It didn't work for me, right? And that's all that you say. And then unsolicited medical advice. This product made my irritation bump worse, and I had an allergic reaction on my nose from this product. Don't buy it, right? So all types of reviews can get removed. Now, let's go into a few things that you need to know. These are details. If you're ever going to pay attention to all the words I keep saying, this section's probably the most important. So most sellers have a 1% or less success rate at removing negative reviews, but you have to understand that persistence is key on this. And just for reference, and that's not, I'm not here to like try and sell everyone on TraceViews, but TraceViews has a 5 to 15% removal rate of all of your critical reviews, right? Full disclosure, I would not expect you to have that same results. We have just unbelievable amounts of data and processes in place. But if you get even close to that, you are doing extraordinarily well. And I just want everyone to know that. Most
low, if you go to like 10%, that's nothing. But in reality, it's really hard to get even to that number.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, in reality, most sellers can't even get reviews removed, no matter how much they violate the community guidelines. There's some wild reviews out there where it has to be an automated response from Amazon. They don't actually look, Yeah. So, next thing you need to know is that most requests for removal are sent with too much emotion. You need to keep the emotion out, keep to the facts. And I'm going to hit this hard, right? Because like I said, I'm an Amazon seller too. And when I did camping blankets for a while. That was one of my only private labels. And I had a number of people return my blankets filthy with mud and dog hair and all that stuff. And they returned it as it arrived damaged. But it was so obvious that they bought the product, went camping with it, let their dog sleep on it, got it all dirty, and they were done with this one camping trip, and then they just returned it and marked it as damaged, right? So anyhow, you can imagine that I had some choice words.
Yeah, I completely understand. It reminded me of an advice that a former manager while I was working in corporation gave me, is that when you are so pissed off that you want to write an emotional email, never send it out, because it's going to be nonsense. Just write an email, save it as draft, close your laptop, go for a walk, then return to it. And then when you read it, you're going to be shocked by what you wanted to include in the email, because it's not business related, it's just emotions. Yeah. So it's the same way.
Absolutely. So that's so interesting. And that's awesome that you got that advice, because my wife had to give me that same advice. And so I would write the emails and then I would have her check it. And more times than one, all that was left from the original email that I wrote was "Dear person, comma, new paragraph." And then she wrote the rest from there, because I will say that I can get quite heated when I feel like I've been wronged by somebody. And so that's, and I know this, and I think in our hearts we all know this, but like attacking somebody verbally, in any way, attacking somebody is just, it's never the right solution.
Right.
Good communication solves all things eventually, right?
And prevents so many bad things.
Oh yes, absolutely. And this is a lesson that I have to constantly be reminded of, and especially with 3 kids, right? So I've got 3 daughters. They're 6, 4, and 2. And you tell the kid, like, hey, go pick up your toys, right? And they don't do it. it never works to yell at them. It just makes them upset. And then you feel terrible because now you've made your daughter cry. I'm talking
Right.
about me, of course. Right. It just never works. Right. So what I found does work is good communication and good control. But anyhow, this isn't a parenting thing or marriage counseling. So let's get into the next things.
I got 2 boys, so I feel you. No worries.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got boys. I mean, my girls, I've come to find that that girls are apparently are much easier to deal with, at least in the beginning stages, than boys are, because as boys, we go crazy, don't we?
Yeah, and I have a perfect example for comparison purposes. My brother had 4 daughters, and once
Ooh.
when they came to be our guests, they were in a room and it was quiet, and I was like, "Is everything okay?" There are 4 kids. They were just literally sitting on the floor, writing and
Playing.
like crayons all over the place, but they were absolutely quiet. Imagine 4 boys in one room.
Oh no, it'd be mayhem, absolute mayhem. Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying completely. So
Yeah.
A perfect off topic for parents.
Yeah, perfect. All right, cool. So next thing is, and this is super important, Amazon cares about Amazon, and Amazon cares about their customers. So those are the 2 things that Amazon cares about. They don't care about you. It's nothing personal. It's just a fact, right? So your viewpoint needs to be, how does this review affect the Amazon customer? How does it affect Amazon, right? So keep that in mind when you're looking at reviews. And then you need to read the community guidelines, particularly the section called What's Not Allowed. And you need to read it over and over and over again. And you need to reference it regularly when you're trying to get a review removed, because you're going to be referencing that, the community guidelines in the emails or in the case that you are filing. So here are some tips to increase your success rate. File cases with factual supporting data. Keep all the emotion out of it. Facts only. You are a lawyer. You are completely disconnected from this situation. You do not really care. The client only hired you to handle it. Keep all emotion out. Reference the terms of service and community guidelines, and tell the person in the case, tell the person that's reading this how it violates those guidelines, right? Be persistent. It's probably going to take more than one time, right? I firmly believe that Amazon basically automatically declines everything on the first try, on the first notice, because that probably eliminates 70% of their work, right? So this is what to include when you contact Amazon. And for those of you that are looking at this in the video, take a screenshot of this and write this down. For those of you that are just listening, I'm going to list this out. The ASIN in question. All right. So you need to have the ASIN in there. You need the buyer name, and you need the link to that buyer's name, to that buyer's account, right? You also need the review ID. So if you go and you open up any review, well, not any review, quick little side thing here. If you're on Amazon.com and the review was left on Amazon.com, you can open up the review. But reviews from other countries also display in there. So if it's in another country, that review won't be clickable. You'll have to open up .co.uk or .de or wherever in order to access that review. But the point is that you'll need the link to that review ID, which is in the link to the review. You need the review title and body. You need to tell in the email, tell the person at Amazon, what is the type of violation? There's a list of different ways that there are ways for reviews to be in violation. You need to indicate that. And then you need to explain the desired result, which of course is that Amazon removes the review. So again, Amazon does not care about your emotions. I'll read you 2 reviews. So the first one has emotional damage in it, right? Emotional damage. This review is completely fake. There is no way the buyer received a used product instead of a new one, because we don't even sell refurbished items, right? That's quite emotional. Non-emotional or less emotional would be, This review violates Amazon's community guidelines because it is about seller order or shipping feedback. This brand does not sell used units and only ships new units in the FBA facilities, right?
Yeah. More
So you're
facts.
not,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. All right. So here are the main takeaways. A critical a critical review is a written 1, 2, or 3 star review, and it affects your sales, your conversion rate, your BSR, and many aspects of your brand. Reviews that may seem genuine, and in fact even could be genuine, are still potentially eligible for removal if they violate the community guidelines. And then you can get reviews removed yourself with the right approach and with persistence. I think persistence is probably the most important part here. So
Yeah.
for those of you watching, you can scan this QR code on the screen here, and there is a special offer for anyone that is listening in. And then for those of you that are just listening, go to tracefuse.ai/Amazonia, AMAZONIA. And honestly, I can't even remember what the special offer it is. It's probably like a $500 credit towards your first 2 reviews removed.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah, but that's it.
Well, thank you, Danan.
Yeah.
At the end, they saved a very special question for you, and the presentation was awesome. Really, to me, it sounds like this should be handled by the professionals. Okay, I suppose there can be sellers that maybe would like to try themselves, but for such a crucial task, I would definitely recommend reaching out to you because it's something that
Yeah.
shouldn't. Oh,
Yeah. I do hate that I have to agree with you, to be perfectly honest. Like, of course, we want more customers, more business to help more people, right? But unfortunately, yes, that's true. We will have a better success rate than anybody. That's why we have agencies that use our products for all of their customers. It's like they can't do it. They've tried, you know. The best I've ever heard is 3%. And that was from a very large agency from someone who I really respect in the field. So,
right.
yeah,
It takes experience.
it takes experience, but there's like, there's community help, there's seller support, and there's brand registry. But we've got about 10 other teams that we work with that are like, we don't put out there who it is that we work with, because
Right.
then if we did that, Amazon would just shut them down, which they've done before, right?
Right. Yeah. So the last question I have before we end this podcast is that can you give us a few examples on what are some of the black hat tactics that somebody could use and is using against the things? That's what I don't know actually. So you showed us one example of that, like fake review of the image of the actual review, but
Yeah.
what is it that we should be, let's say, afraid of and be on attention about certain behaviors that how to even, is there a way to spot a black hat review or anything that you can share along those lines?
Yeah, there's a couple ways. So number one is, if you think that a review is suspicious, investigate the buyer's account. Most of the time, not all the time, they will show the last 16 reviews that account has done. So we see things like, and actually, I think I'll put this in the chat for you real quick, and so that you can see this. This is an account that only did 1-star reviews, right? So for those of you that aren't able to see this, and Igor, if you want to share your screen on this, that would be interesting. But there are, in the screenshot, there are 12 reviews. Every single one of them says "do not buy" as the title.
Oh, yeah.
And then, it was don't waste your money. That's what it was. And so if you look at the snippets from all the reviews, almost every single one of them says dirty and ripped and dirty, arrived broken and dirty. It's like, you'd think that Amazon was being fulfilled from a dirt lot and they were using shovels to put things into the boxes, you know?
This
And
really looks like automated one, like
totally.
ChatGPT did.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Chat GPT would do a much better job, I would think. But yeah, this is just one account. We have so far, and the our intention is to get with the FTC on this. We've isolated what we believe are 1,400, just from our customers, mind you, 1,400 fraudulent accounts. That's on the first pass, and that's only from reviews that have on our customers, right? So, and each one of those accounts, sometimes there's just one, but sometimes they do multiples. But there's there. Let me just list out a few ways to locate black hat stuff, and it takes some work, right? So, number one is, do you have a sudden spike in the number of critical reviews that lead to only exactly moving down a star rating, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you might get one star review per day. If you get 18 in a day and then you're straight back down to 1 star, investigate every single one of those buyer accounts. They're probably in some way associated to each other, whether that is just that they all, well, here what you'll see is that they'll all those reviews will come in at once, and in many cases those buyer accounts have also left critical reviews on exactly the same other products, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah. I'm just sorry to interrupt. That's great. I'm
yeah.
just thinking for the brands out there with high volumes, that's a lot of manual work, I would say. So if there's no team
Mhm.
member dedicated to do that, then it's actually those negative reviews, malicious negative reviews by black hat tactics can really get away without noticing if
Yeah.
you have so many reviews by day. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you know, this is why we exist. Like we've built software to, when we get a customer, we not only download their reviews, but we download all the reviews that those reviewers have left on all the other products, because that's how we, you know, look for this black hat stuff. So spikes in your critical review count, reviews that use the exact same images or the exact same titles and bodies, uh, and and um, and then reviewers that have left, let's say, a 1 star on your product. Let's say you sell AirPods, right? So they they left a 1 star on AirPods, they left a 1 star on some Bose things, they left a 1 star on some seller candy stuffs, and then a 5 star on some no name brand.
Right. That's
Right?
pretty, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Danan. It was
Yeah.
a pleasure talking to you. I learned so many things, and I'm sure that everybody watching is gonna feel the same. It was an absolute pleasure, and I'm looking forward
Likewise.
to connect with you in the future also.
Thanks, Igor.